All right, this is APBC Calculus. We're doing midterm review, and this is free response 20A, which is non-calculator. So I have this graph of f, and I'm given that g of x is the integral from 0 to x of f of t dt. So we've seen this problem before with different numbers, but we're asked to find g of -1, g prime of -1, and g double prime of -1. So g of x is the integral from 0 to x of f of t dt, which means that g prime of x is the derivative of that integral, so it's just going to be an f of x, and g double prime of x is equal to f prime of x. So it's worth noting, like maybe it's helpful to note that these are the y values on the graph. This is the area on the graph, right? So if we find the area, and this is the slope of the given graph, right? The slope of the graph that I was given. So kind of worth noting. So let's go ahead and find all three of those things. So the integral, so my g of -1 is the integral from 0 to -1 of f of t dt. Now I don't love that that's an integral with bounds that are backwards, so I'm going to flip them and put a negative in front, because I think most of us do better finding the area when we do it in what is sort of considered the normal order. So that area is going to be this area right here, which is just a triangle of height 3 and base 1. So this is going to be a negative times 1/2 base times height, and we get a -3/2. So that's the first one, okay? That's my g of -1 equals -3/2. Cool. Make that a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so next, g prime of -1 is arguably the easiest. It's just f of -1, which is literally going to be the y value on the graph. So that's this y value, which is a 0. So that's my g prime of -1. And then lastly, my g double prime of -1 is going to be the same as f prime of -1. Well, because f is linear at -1, right? If you look up here, f is, my bad, hang on. If you look up here, f is linear, right? The slope of this thing, if you count, it's up 3, right 1. So this slope is a positive 3 over 1, right? So my g double prime of -1 is a 3, and those are the three values that you need. Now let's say you find one of them, like let's say you're having trouble with the area in the first one, that's cool. Just differentiate and do the other two, because you don't have to do things in order necessarily, and find the ones you can.